Hello everybody, welcome to Awesome Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and drop a like on this video. I'm trying to hit 100k subscribers and we're very nearly at that mark, so your subscription would be much appreciated. Also drop a like, it only takes 1 second and makes a massive difference. If you want to see my coverage of the other playoff games of the day, that is in the most recent upload on this channel. But today's video, this one is going to be specifically limited to Kings versus Warriors because this is easily the most anticipated series of the first round of this year's playoffs, and it is also easily the best game that happened today. I definitely wanted to see this series more than anyone else just because I love the Sacramento Kings so much, and there's the interesting contrast between these teams of the super experienced team that's not really at their best right now versus the new up-and-coming team that's at their best but also does not necessarily have that experience. If you want to see some in-depth thoughts on how I feel about these two teams, my second most recent upload on my main channel is about this series, and a lot of what I said actually did end up transpiring in this video. Some of it did not, and we'll talk about that. But this was definitely a fantastic game. Came down to the wire, very nearly went into overtime, but Steph Curry missed his essentially floater three-pointer that he took at the very end there. But because, of course, he's Steph Curry, even though it was a bad shot on paper, it very much looked like it could go in and damn near seemed like it was going to. But I guess I can start with where Golden State went wrong here and why they ended up losing, and that was just in their overall defense against De'Aaron Fox. They did a couple of different things with him coverage-wise, and really none of it worked. Gary Payton got some time on him as I predicted. Andrew Wiggins actually ended up being the primary defender on him, generally speaking, when it was the full starters. Klay Thompson got some time, which I really am not a fan of just because I really don't think he has the speed to keep up with him. Wiggins might a little bit, but Klay not so much. I think even Dante DiVincenzo was on him at one point, but regardless of what coverage they threw at him, De'Aaron Fox had no problem. Now, I will say he was hitting a high volume of jump shots. He went 4 for 8 from 3 in this one, which is not typical of him. He's not a very good three-point shooter, shot 32% on the year on much less than 8 3-point attempts per game, but I was worried about how they would defend Fox going into this. I was also worried about how they would defend Sabonis, and that's somewhere the Warriors definitely did not go wrong, as Sabonis shot 5 for 17 in this one, and I believe on the broadcast they said that's the worst field goal percentage he has had in a game in quite a long time. He did get 16 rebounds and was pretty good defensively in this one, and I will say for the case of the Kings that they did have a lot of good defense in this game. Now, obviously, they still allowed 123 points to the Golden State Warriors, but frankly, the Warriors were hitting some ridiculous shots to close this game. Specifically, Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry were just launching them from everywhere. Steph hit a 3 where he was practically falling out of bounds. Klay pulled up off of a screen from like 5 feet behind the line, hit another ridiculous 3 in his defender's face soon after that. And of course, Steph Curry was doing that even throughout the whole freaking game, really. Steph was ridiculous. Offensively, overall for the Golden State Warriors, though, Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole were fine. And for Andrew Wiggins' case, I will say, for this being the first basketball game he's played in quite a long time, 17 points on 16 shots is perfectly fair enough. But he was very rough from outside, and again, did not have the presence on De'Aaron Fox that I think the Warriors were hoping that he would have. Again, he could have played much worse than this, so we can't really complain about it too much. Klay Thompson, well, I did mention that he did hit some crazy shots late. Rough shooting here, 8 for 19 from the field for 19 points. He definitely got a little overzealous at times. Not that that's something that Klay Thompson is not known for, but it definitely hurt them at points in this game. And really, the Warriors as a whole, you could tell that they just didn't have it whenever Stephen Curry wasn't on the floor. Like, the moment that the Kings bridged like an 8 to 10 point gap that I think it was as soon as Jordan Poole was in the game doing Stephen Curry's job. And that's not even a knock on Jordan Poole, because doing Stephen Curry's job is impossible because it's being Stephen Curry, and that's basically impossible. So, unfortunately, their offense when he did not play was pitiful. might have to be playing more than 37 minutes in this one if they're going to want to win it. Really, I think they should have gone more full send than they did, given that this game was as close as it was on Sacramento's home floor, because as I said in my preview for this series, the Warriors only have to win one on their home floor, or on the Kings home floor, and if they got that in game one, that's really not a good look for the Sacramento Kings. Making sure they got this win at home was huge. Something I also didn't throw in there talking about De'Aaron Fox is just how ridiculously clutch he was in this one. It really felt like a lot of his buckets came late. As I mentioned, he went off from three, and I feel like 3 of those threes were in like the last 8 minutes of the game or so. A couple of mid-range shots that were really key. Just an excellent performance from him. Steph Curry also had a lot of really nice drives that I don't think I previously mentioned. But yeah, this was all in all very much lived up to what I hoped it would be. Very offensive heavy game, but like I mentioned with like how Sacramento was playing defense, like both of these teams were playing defense. Both of these teams were really putting their all in. It's just that also both of these teams, when everybody's fully healthy, are pretty phenomenal offenses. For the sake of the Sacramento Kings, it was more of an all-around effort than, you know, it felt more like the Warriors relied on them rather than Fox for the Kings. Not that, obviously, De'Aaron Fox had a phenomenal performance, and that was the reason they won, but it felt like the team could function without him. Whereas when Steph was off of the floor, things just got bad quickly. Also, again, something that I just neglected to mention, Malik Monk was also great in this one. He had 32 points, 8 for 13 from the field. He got to the free throw line a ton, hitting 14 of his 14 free throw attempts. I really think that he's kind of like the modern J.R. Smith in many ways. I think he makes less like just complete brain fart decisions on the floor, but a lot of what he does reminds me of that, and the spark that he brings offensively for this team off of the bench. He was so good that he ended up taking a majority of what would have been Keegan Murray's minutes. You know, that's fine. Keegan Murray's a rookie. It's fine that he was not ready for this moment, the moment he touched the floor. Yeah, Malik Monk was absolutely massive in this one. I didn't want to leave him unmentioned. Also, Trey Lyles, when they went on that big run, that he had like 10 of their 15 points or whatever it was. Like he finished the game with 16 on 6 for 8 shooting. I don't think much about Trey Lyles. He's a fine player, but he really stepped it up in this one. You got to give him credit for that. But really, I can't walk away from this game really going too hard on anyone other than Sabonis, who really struggled from the field. Like, pretty much everybody did an okay to great job in this one. And both of these teams kind of gave it their all in their full ability and their full strength, and that generally leads to great results if it's a very interesting matchup. Both of these teams came to play and showed what they could do at the highest level, and they did it against each other damn well and in a very damn entertaining way. As I was watching this game with Rudy, I just kept saying, this is basketball, man. Like, this was very entertaining, a very entertaining game. And even if you're like an old head who hates like the 3-point era and all that, in the case of this game, as those threes were being launched late in the game, they were just going in. So like, you can't really not find enjoyment in that, and unless you're just a cynical dick. But I guess some old NBA fans are. But anywho, I guess I can end this, given what I've titled it, on what a big deal this is for Sacramento. This is their first playoff win since 2006. It means the world to Sacramento. You can tell that for their fan base and how freaking loud they are. The whole arena was erupting. They were even talking about it on the broadcast, how they're struggling to call out plays because the arena is so damn loud. Really cool thing for them, and I've followed the Sacramento Kings team all year. Obviously, they expect more than just a playoff win, but even if they were to lose every other game in the series, by comparison to what Sacramento has been my entire time following the NBA, this would be an abject, massive success. And they do deserve a moment to revel in finally escaping from that nightmare of endlessly not making the NBA playoffs and being a pitiful basketball organization. Hopefully they can do more than just, you know, make the playoffs for once. I do think this team has higher aspirations, but again, worthy of letting them sit in it. But yeah, fantastic game. This is what playoff basketball is all about, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But that is it. Shout out to Rudy for editing the video, and goodbye.